Hi everyone, it's Mike here, and this is the first of, I hope, a series of videos called Making Horror. And in these videos, I'm going to be exploring how I make short films and audio horror projects and how I write horror stories as well. The main reason that I'm making these videos is that a number of you have written to me over the years and left messages where you are aspiring to make horror content and you want to do that. And I can't think of anything more worthwhile in terms of this channel than actually helping other people do that and connecting with other people who want to do that. And if how I do things helps you figure out what mistakes to avoid or what things that you can try to do to make your aspirations come true, then that's something I would love to be part of. It's also just fun for me to talk about making horror. It's fun for me to talk about making stories. That's what I've done my entire life, whether I had an audience or whether I didn't have an audience. So it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about, and I hope that those of you who maybe aren't quite as into the making of things in terms of horror, that maybe you'll still get something out of this, a little bit of insight into to how I work. And if you're not into this sort of stuff, don't worry about it. The majority of the content on the channel is still going to be horror fiction and documentaries. Okay, so let's start with the first episode of Making Horror. I want to begin by talking about some of the equipment that I've gathered throughout the last sort of year and a half, primarily throughout the pandemic. I'm sure the fact that we were all isolated during that time made us start to think about how we navigate that terrible situation. And as someone who makes videos and makes horror content, I have been thinking a lot about, what can I do primarily on my own, and that's led me to buying some equipment that can let me do out and about videos where I'm vlogging, but it can also let me do little short films and shoot little mini documentaries, things like that, and little experimental horror pieces. And actually, since I've slowly amassed this equipment, it's got me to the point now where, as things are opening up now where I live, that I'm able to see Callum again, who is my partner in crime on this channel, and he's an amazing uh, filmmaker, and he has way more. I was going to say intelligence. Don't let him hear that I said that. He's got way more skill when it comes to filmmaking, way more knowledge about filmmaking. So he's got all that sort of stuff. But I wanted to have some stuff as well, so that I could contribute as best I could, and also, like I say, just to be able to film little things off the cuff as well. So with that in mind, I now feel that I've got to the point where I have the equipment that I need to make those little projects a reality. And so I'll go through the things that I've got. And I should say that most of these things were given to me as presents that I asked for Christmases and birthdays. But I also have to thank my patrons. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Michael Whitehouse. And the people who have contributed on that Patreon throughout the last couple of years have really helped me get some of this equipment together so that I can make more horror content, hopefully for all of you to enjoy. I should say I haven't spent like an obscene amount of money. I'm very much operating in the budget end of things, and I just buy a little thing every now and then, or like I say, Christmases, birthdays, that sort of thing. So if you're wanting to do what I'm doing, then what I can say is it doesn't have to cost. I'm not spending thousands of pounds or anything like that. Okay, so if you're on a limited budget, there are plenty of options out there for you now. If you want to make short films, if you want to make documentaries, if you want to make little experimental horror pieces. Okay, so I'll start with the phone. So I got this phone about a year and a half ago. No, a year and a half ago, about a year ago. It's the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II. I got this because it's pretty much built for people making videos. and I'm using an app on it called Filmic Pro, which you do have to pay for, but it doesn't cost that much, and that gives you loads of different options when you're out filming and shooting things. Callum also has the same phone as this. Well, he's got the, that's right, my phone's now talking to me. Callum's got the Xperia 5, I think it is, and it's basically the same phone, but it's just larger. So it also means that if the two of us shoot things on our phones, we can edit the footage together and they'll look the same. His will look much better because he knows what he's doing more. But you know, the quality of the actual footage should be the same and shouldn't be too jarring to people. So I've been messing around with this, like I say, really for the last year, and I probably should put this on silent. I've been messing around with this phone for the last year, and yeah, it's great. If you saw the short found footage film that I made called A Haunted Gorge, that was shot on this. There were some technical issues with that, but I did everything on the fly, and I kind of know what I did wrong with some of that. But I enjoyed making that film, and I think it's something that worked out pretty well for people. Unfortunately, had I had more time, I'd have went back and reshot some of the stuff. But I didn't have that. I literally had a few hours in that location, and that was it. Because I was on holiday with my family, and that was the time to make that little project, and I did it. And that's what I have to say about having, you know, a mobile phone on you that can shoot good video. Is that if you are wanting to tell stories, if you're wanting to experiment, it doesn't need to be in horror. It could be in anything. Then having something like that in your pocket is just, it's incredible. It's like the old adage that I know a lot of like photographers talk about, which is, you know, what's the best camera? The best camera is the one you have on you. And I totally believe that. I think that you don't have to spend an obscene amount of money to be able to make films. And I've seen people shooting on like kids toy film cameras and things like that and making effective horror. That's one of the great things about horror, is that if your footage is kind of nasty and not perfect, it has an organic feel to it, and horror's visceral. That's what horror does to you. It has this visceral quality. So if you're shooting on low grade stuff, it's fantastic. It adds to the atmosphere, especially if you're doing found footage and that sort of thing. Okay, so that's the phone, the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II. I really love this phone. I do have some criticisms of it, but this isn't a phone review. But as a to film on, it's fantastic. And like I say, I've got the Filmic Pro app on it, which cost, I can't remember, £10 or something like that, and it gives you loads of extra options, so you can really make anything you want, really. Okay, so next up is this was the first thing that I bought. I knew that I wanted to buy a gimbal, which is basically like a Steadicam thing, you know. And put this together. Excuse me. So this is definitely the most expensive thing, and I think I paid about £60 for it about a year ago, something like that. And it was second hand. I got it on eBay. So this is definitely the most expensive. I mean, my phone's a contract phone, so I suppose you could say I pay that up every month. But certainly, just as an outlay, this was the most expensive thing that I bought. And I've only used it a few times, but it is really great. Basically, you put your phone in here, and when the phone balances perfectly, and it has all these little gyroscopes and motors that allow it to make all of your footage very fluid, and so you don't have the jittery, you know, handheld motion and things like that. And you can do all sorts of cool things. You can with this, you can sort of sweep the camera down low to the ground. You can do it high up. You can do all sorts of things, and you can just have that sort of steady cam motion that you see at the start of Halloween and in The Shining and things like that. So for a Haunted Gorge, I used this. That was what I shot this on. What's really good about the Xeon, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a Xeon Smooth 4. Funnily enough, I couldn't say the word smooth, and it has it's got like a focus puller on it as well, so you can change the focus in your camera. It hooks up to your phone through an app. which so it makes a lot of those things easier. But it also has a pretty nifty feature, I thought anyway, which is that it can charge your phone, because it's got a battery that lasts about 12 hours on it. And if you're out shooting something on your phone and you start to run out of battery, then what this does is it lets you charge your phone off of it as well, which I thought was really. I didn't know they did that at first, but I think that's really cool. I think I may have actually used that when I was out shooting that time, because if you're shooting in like 4K and things like that, it's like gobble up your battery life. Anyway, so that's the phone, that's the gimbal. I also have, this shows how ill prepared I am. Actually, it might be down here. Hold on a second. Just avoid my bald spot at the back of my head. Hold on. Yep. I mean, this cost me like a few pounds. And it's just a little tripod. And I can like hook it onto trees and things like that, and you can really just set it down and use it anywhere. I mean, it's very cheap, it's plasticky, but when I did that video, the Halloween video was like a walk in the woods and all that, I didn't use my Steadicam. I just used this, and I have to say that just using this with the phone, it was really smooth. It was really good. So yeah, that sounds like I broke it there, but it didn't. So yeah, I mean, I don't expect this to last a long time. But like I say, it's like I think it's like an aftermarket one. I don't think it's got any sort of branding on it. I think I picked it up off of eBay for, like I say, a few pounds. It's got a spirit level on it as well, so you can make sure if you are using it that your shots are all level. And I got this so that if I'm out and about, I quite often like to go walking in the woods and places like that, more remote places that I could, sit it down somewhere, or like I say, wrap it around a tree branch, or use it in various different ways for different shots. And it works fine. It works great. And like I say, just a few pounds, which is really great. You'll find all sorts of these in, like, I think you can order things on like eBay and Alibaba and Amazon and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I would definitely recommend. I'm going to take a drink now. Okay. There's a bat on that. Spooky. So I got that just for a few pounds, and then I also got this. What's in it? What's in this? Well, it's got a few things in it actually. So first of all, I didn't. This is separate from all of this, but I got a Lav Mic, which you can see here. Now, it actually didn't come with this big furry dead cat on the end of it. It didn't come with that. I bought them, so I think they were about £12. The microphone though I got as a present. It's the Rode Lavalier Plus, I think it's called, and it basically plugs straight into like a recorder or your phone, and then you have it sort of hooked up wherever, like, so that, not like that hopefully, you have it hooked up wherever, and it'll record your voice. See, and you can maybe hide it away if you don't want people to see it, but it lets you record your voice up close and personal. You're not recording a lot of the environment, which if you're in a noisy environment, that's really good. And also this filter on the top, this wind filter, is really good. It stops any sort of plosives when you're talking, and if you're out and about, you definitely, especially in Scotland's like one of the windiest countries in the world, so we have that going all the time, so it's good to have protection for your microphones. Otherwise, if you've ever been without your phone, I know I've done the phone like that. Phones don't look like that anymore. If you ever get your phone and you're out and about and it's windy, or someone else is, and you can just hear into the microphone, those filters protect that for the most part. So I got that. I don't know how much that costs, because let's say I didn't buy that. I got it as a present. I think it might be about £50, something like that. And then, so this I did buy. So this is another microphone. So this is a little shotgun microphone that sits on top of, it comes with a shock mount. It's a Movo, and it basically, you can fit it. It sits on the shock mount and then sits on top of your camera. It's got like a little sort of horseshoe fitting. So you need something that you can attach that to, which I do have here. This is a Ulanzi. They make a lot of these little things, and this sort of slides in on that, like that, and then you, hold on, I'll show you. Anyone that's got any experience with these things is looking at me and going, ah, this guy's terrible. So you put your phone in here, and then you've got your microphone sitting in the shock mount. It looks ridiculous, but that's supposed to stop sort of like handling noise and things like that, the microphone picking stuff up. And yeah, that's the reason that I've got this microphone. And it came with, it's got two, so it's got this cover on it, which goes on like that, and then it's got this dead cat that goes, it's not an actual dead cat, it's got this filter, this wind filter on top of it, and then that means, I mean, it looks a bit ridiculous and you've got a phone with this on top of it, but it does mean that it's stopping the wind from going out. And the reason I got this is that as much as the Lav Mic is great, this will pick up some of the environmental noise, and it will also, because it points, it's a directional microphone, so it points, it's picking up what's in front of you, in front of it, it'll pick up your voice really well. So I say that I haven't really tested it properly yet, which I should have done, because on Friday I'm going out with this stuff with Callum to shoot something. Ooh, shouldn't have said that. So yeah, I got that. I can't remember how much that cost. It's, again, you would think it's expensive. These things are really expensive, but they're not. They're not. Some are little bits and bobs that I've got. So I've got some of these ND filters from Tide, and these sit on, it's a little bit awkward, to be honest. I think there are some other better options, but essentially you put these on top of the lens, and this is a variable one, so you can actually move it like this, and what that does is it polarizes the light, I think, and it sort of takes some of, so that it basically means that when you're shooting things in like broad daylight, you can make sure that it's not overexposed and things like that. So so I've got a couple of those, and yeah, I think that's almost everything in there. Yeah, I've got a few others. That's a different type of filter, but as you can see, the thing is, with some of this stuff, I'm learning. I've never really shot things on mobile phones. I've made short films over the years. I've made I've shot things on like old Hi8 cameras, and I've shot things on a DSLR, but I'm by no means an expert with any of this stuff. Like I say, that's more Callum's thing. He knows a lot more about it than I do. It's more just a bit of a hobby for me, but it allows me to create things for all of you on this channel. Another thing that I got, is it here? I don't know why I'm asking you. Well, it's not there. I did actually get that was another present. I got a full tripod. So it's actually a pretty cool one, but it's actually too big to show to show here at the moment. But it's because as much as that little tripod is great for just being out and about, if I wanted to, I've had ideas about like some short films that I want to make like by myself at different times and during the pandemic, and I wanted to have a tripod that I could set up and then then act in front of the camera a bit easier, especially things at like head height and things like that. So that's really most of the equipment that I've got, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm now going to get to use some of it. If I'll be shooting things with Callum. We are tentatively bringing back a series that he started called Ghastly Trails, where we're going to different locations, and it'll mostly be stuff that's local at the moment because I've got a newborn in the house, and getting a lot of free time at the moment is a little bit difficult. But um, so I can't like go away for a couple of days up north or something like that, or go to different places further afield. I can't really do that at the moment, but I can. There's so much stuff. Scotland is one of the spookiest countries in the world, and so like you throw a stone from your door and you're hitting honestly, I walk 10 minutes from here and there's a castle, like a full big castle, and that's me in a built up area just outside Glasgow, So and that castle has an amazing ghost story attached to it, which hopefully we'll do a video on at some point. So yeah, so that there are so many opportunities locally, and looking at local folklore and things like that as well. Anyone who listens to the Talking Till Dawn podcast will know how much I love folklore. So there's a lot of that going on as well. So that's what I'm kind of doing at the moment. The only other piece of equipment I see there, because I've taken that off, is like just a generic. I say generic, is it? Or is it Spigen or something? I think this one's actually generic. It's like no, it's Caseology. Cases for your mobile phone. Very important. So I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of projects with this stuff, hopefully. Some of them are going to be just out and about vlogs. Some of them are going to be little experimental horror pieces. And some of them are going to be more sort of documentary adventure, horror adventure stuff where Callum and I are going to different locations and putting. We're thinking that we're going to try and strike a tone that isn't too stuffy. It won't be like, there'll be sections of it that will be more like traditional documentaries, and then there'll be the sort of fun stuff where you get to see me and Callum like going to these locations and trying to get to places that are maybe a little bit out of the way sometimes. And by out of the way, as I just said, I'm not talking about miles away. I mean places that are hard to get into. That sounds like I'm going to break into places. I don't mean that. But anyway, so that's the sort of stuff we're going to be doing. And if you're wanting to create and make horror projects yourself, then absolutely, look at your mobile phone, look at what you can get for very little investment. Um, if I mean, let's say a lot of this stuff has been bought by friends and family, like gifts for Christmases and birthdays, but some of it I have bought myself. And I would have to say, all in all, I think for all of that equipment that I just showed you, I'd be surprised if that's more than 100 to £150, you know, which I know is a lot of money to some people, and it's a lot of money to me, to be honest. But it's not like spending thousands and thousands of pounds. It's within the reach of you um, if you're just a normal working person. So I would definitely recommend getting that sort of stuff. I'll maybe do a similar video about this sort of stuff, about the microphones and things that I use. That comes into not just audio horror work, but also filmmaking as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a little kind of update and talking about those little bits of equipment that I've got and stuff like that. And so a big thank you to all my patrons who have helped support the channel. you can, there'll be a link down below to it if you want to help. You get exclusives, a bunch of stuff every month from me, basically, that you either don't get anywhere else, or you get it early, and you get some other sort of behind the scenes stuff there as well. And I don't like to prattle on too much about it, but it is there for people who want to support what I do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't want to support Patreon, that's absolutely fine. I can understand why some people are completely, against that sort of thing. But just sharing videos and commenting, I love reading comments. I get so excited every single time I get a comment off of someone. I literally get excited. It's something that thrills me and makes me just want to make more stuff for people to enjoy, even sometimes bad comments, but mostly the good ones. So I hope you're all well. I'll be back again in the next video, and stay creepy.